Hi, my name is Ruth Marx, and I'm a religious studies teacher at Morpeth School in Tower Hamlets, as well as the head of CPSHE. And this year I've completed the Stage 1 Leadership Mentorship Programme with my wonderful mentor, Jan Maguire, and Callum St Gabriel's. And this is the year 2021 to 22. Doing this course this year, whilst I've also had a new role as a head of department, has actually been quite perfectly placed for me in that it keeps returning me back to what I'm doing in the classroom as a teacher and what the aims are and the sort of purposes of what's happening in my classroom and how this fits with sort of the current research and pedagogical understandings of what religious studies and worldviews is. And I've found that by returning to the research and pedagogy, curriculum and policy through the modules that I've done, also the community of practice discussions that we've had, and through the in-depth discussions I've had with my mentor, has really deepened my understanding of what religious studies and worldviews education is, where it's been and where it's going, or where I might hope to help it to go. And by looking at the sort of current picture, I've seen the impact that policies have had on our subject and the sort of the pressure that we need to place on our politicians and decision makers around what our subject is and what the future for our subject may be, particularly given, some of the shifts and changes that are happening in education at the moment. And also for me, returning to the research around our subject, when I've been teaching for a while, I did my PGCE nearly 20 years ago, has grounded me again in what I'm doing in my classroom, what I want to support happening in my school, and then also in what I'm doing on my Sacre and other platforms where I can help the subject sort of nationally and hopefully internationally too in the future. For me, having a mentor, as well as the community of practice of other teachers doing the course with me, has been absolutely invaluable this year. I've been going through some quite big life changes, and I'm actually going to be working remotely from a different country going forward from September. And whilst that's like a strange time to do one of these courses, perhaps, but for me, I've found it has been absolutely amazing to have that person who could be a bit of a sounding board, not only pushing me in terms of the research and the curriculum development that I've done, but also in a personal way to sort of help me think of what my strengths are, what I can do, what I want to do, and help me to see a way forward when at times I couldn't quite see what direction. She's given me that clarity, which has been so invaluable and precious, really. It's not a partner, it's not a family member, it's not a colleague, it's someone who, we have that shared passion of loving this subject of religious studies and worldviews. And I would thoroughly recommend anybody to do this mentorship course if you have the possibility to do it. The impact that it's had on me in my classroom has been, whilst many of the things I've read about have sort of chimed in with what I'm already doing in the classroom, what I already felt was good religious studies and worldviews, it's helped me to see the sort of research behind it and how this fits into the national picture and how does it fit into what's happening outside of my class and outside of my borough, because I'm in a very fortunate position where I am. And it's also meant that I can bring new things into my classroom. So, for example, I've got a picture here of us all wearing sunglasses after we've done some reading around lenses and worldviews and different disciplinary ways of approaching religion and worldviews. And so I did some teacher training with us as a department around this, going back to the research, and then how do we then do that at the chalk face and bring it into the classroom. Something quite abstract as an idea, they often are in our subject, by giving the students physical glasses to put on and approach a different text in a different way was really powerful and engaging, quite fun. And we did that with the Genesis story. And so this was a way I could do that across my department and then produce resources that could be used nationally by anyone else who would like to use them. I also gained the confidence through doing this course to work with other schools outside of my setting. So I worked with two schools, two academies separately in supporting them. And I felt that I had, the confidence and the grounding in what I was doing and how I was doing it, and that it was in line with sort of up-to-date research within our subject. So one scheme of work I produced for a school was around what is the phenomena of religion, rather than looking necessarily at religions, what do we mean by this thing of religion, and looking at the different ways that's been approached. The learning points I would give for me would be really to just pace myself. I'm very much, I might give myself deadlines and then I sort of work to those, but I don't always do little and often. And that is not a criticism of Callum St Gabriel's, because they're very clear with the deadlines that you have. But I think I had a lot on my plate and a lot of decisions happening this year. And I think I could just pace myself more steadily in the future. In terms of learning points for Culham St Gabriel's, I think it would be nice to have a face-to-face meeting if we can. I know that obviously COVID and the lockdown meant that that was trickier, but physically meeting people when I went to the ERIAC course as part of this program was amazing, to meet people face to face and sort of put a face to the voice that I've heard and had conversations with online. So I think that's the one point I would give to Culham St Gabriel's. My next steps that I'm hoping to do is that I'm going to be working remotely from France in Europe, and I'm hoping to find ways not only to continue supporting my school that I'm working for and my SACRO that I'm still going to be part of, and the sort of national picture in the UK that I'm hoping to still be engaging with, but also think about how I can promote and encourage the discussion of religions and worldviews in my European setting. And that's something that this course has really helped me do as well, which is fantastic. My statement of expenditure is that Culham St Gabriel's very kindly supported me to go to the ERIAC course, which I would completely recommend to anybody who's thinking of doing it in the future. So they paid for that, and then the cover fees for my school, which comes to a total of £500. And this is the sharing of my report that I'm happy for anybody to see and get in touch with any questions. Okay, goodbye.